Getting breaking news out of Gaza. Several rockets have been fired from the besieged Palestinian enclave towards Israel. There are warning sirens being sounded in and around Gaza, as well as central and southern Israel. Let's cross now to Yumna El-Sayed, who's joining us on the phone line from Gaza. So, Yumna, just tell us more about what you're hearing and what's happening.
Yes, Nick, it all started just short minutes ago, or just a while ago. I'm talking about barrages of rockets being launched at the same time from different areas in the skies of the Gaza Strip towards the Israeli towns. Really, the intensity of the rockets that were fired from Gaza, we've never seen such an amount of rockets at the same time. The rockets are still being launched until this moment in the southern part of the Gaza Strip in Khan Yunis and in the central part in Deir al-Balah. Also, we've heard local witnesses say that resistance factions have crossed on the other side of the border, according to local witnesses, which means that Palestinian military or armed men from the Palestinian military groups have crossed onto the other side of the border, and there was an armed confrontation with the Israeli troops on the other side of the Israeli Gaza border in the central part and in the southern part of the Gaza Strip. Until this moment, there is no one statement to explain to us what is actually happening. Is this an action or a reaction? There is no statement clarifying the situation. All we can see and hear is barrages of rockets being launched from the Gaza Strip and dozens of rockets from the Iron Dome flying to intercept these rockets.
And Yumna, just give us the context of this. Remind us of the most recent barrages of this kind coming out of Gaza.
Right now, while I'm talking to you, I can see them right here above my head. More barrages, more rockets are being fired. According also to Israel spokesman, military spokesman, they said that the range of these rockets, some of them have reached until Tel Aviv and also to the western Jerusalem. So we can see that the rockets that are being fired are not just short-range rockets, but also high-range rockets. And now this is something really that's not normal. It's extraordinary, because also in previous escalations, these kinds of rockets were not used until it was really getting complicated between the Israeli side and the group that is being in fighting with the Israeli side. So for these kinds of rockets to be used from now, at day one from the first incident, we're still very much concerned about what has happened. We can't still understand what has happened, since there is no clarification from any of the sides yet.
Yumna, tell us about the current state of tensions as far as Gaza and Israel are concerned.
I'm sorry, again, Nick?
Could you tell us about the current state of tensions at the moment?
Yes, true. It has been a very long period this time of ongoing tensions, especially because of the Jewish holidays that have been taking place in September and the beginning of October, and it was really a long period of tension and a lot of provocations by the Israeli settlers and National Orthodox that were storming Al-Aqsa compound. The violence by the Israeli forces towards the worshippers in Jerusalem and in Al-Aqsa compound. These were provocative actions towards the Palestinian factions or fighting groups here in Gaza. They have stated many times that this will lead to an explosion, this will lead to a further escalation. Border confrontations have taken place, border protests have taken place through the Gaza-Israeli border. All those past weeks also to protest these provocative acts. Until yesterday, it was the launching of Al-Jihad or Islamic Jihad group, the 36th anniversary of the launching of the group. And there were a lot of messages by other factions that had came to give their blessings to this ceremony. And the neutral, actually, to this all the factions was that they send a message to say that they're watching closely what is happening, and they are telling the Israeli occupation not to go further with these provocative acts that may lead to an explosion in the region.
Yumna, we'll leave it there for the time being. Thanks very much indeed for that. Yumna Al-Said there reporting on the barrages, rockets being fired out of Gaza. Never seen such an amount of rockets, she said, at the same time. And they're still being launched as we speak. Let's talk to Sarah Haddett, who joins us on the phone line from the occupied East Jerusalem. Sarah, what are you hearing from your end?
That's right. Well, there's been obviously an escalation here, and things have been very tense this year between Israel and Palestinians. We've had the largest number of deaths, more than 250 Palestinians killed in occupied territories. Things had escalated in occupied West Bank in the last few days in Hawara, where there had been provocations that's been going on for months between Palestinians and as well as illegal Jewish settlers. So, you know, the situation here has also been extremely tense, even here in occupied East Jerusalem. In the last few days, it's been the Jewish holiday of Sukkot, one of the biggest holidays held here in Israel by the Jews, where we've seen Jewish pilgrims walking through the old city, some of them spitting on even Christian worshippers as they walk past. Some of those Christian worshippers were tourists. So there's even been an escalation there. The situation has been very tense, and this comes as no surprise. Even overnight, the Palestinian authorities had entered one of the areas in occupied West Bank to try and stop armed groups. There's been a rise in armed groups amongst Palestinians, especially in refugee camps, as we're seeing this current Israeli government, which is has been very tough, especially on occupied areas. You have very hard-line members within the government that are ultra-Orthodox. They very much believe in the expansion of settlements and legal settlements in occupied territories, building of new homes, 5,000 home units that they want to approve soon. So you're seeing this year, it's one of the tensest years that there has been in more than a decade.
And Sarah, as we speak, rockets still being fired. And next is the question of the Israeli response.
So far, we haven't seen one at the moment, but we'll obviously keep monitoring that. They usually will respond. And this current government, Benjamin Netanyahu, who's come back into power through a coalition government, you know, he's been very much, pushing for to quash any rockets coming in, and you know, there has been a response. Obviously, things escalated a few months in Gaza as well, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens there.
All right, Sarah, thanks very much indeed for that update. Back with you as things progress there. So just a quick recap, barrages of rockets being fired from Gaza, reaching as far as Tel Aviv and West Jerusalem. And never seen such an amount of rockets at the same time, reports our correspondent Yumna Al-Said. More on this as we get it here at RDZ World.
Make sure to subscribe to a channel to the latest news from RDZ World News.